A 10-song album. Blast. I don't think I could do another 30-song album in a row. That's psychotic. Billy's words, not mine. She posted this on X a few weeks ago, and it's rumored to be about Taylor Swift, since her Eras Tour show length is about 3 hours. Doing a 3-hour show, that's literally psychotic. Nobody wants that. You guys don't want that. I don't want that. I don't even want that as a fan. Even my favorite artists, I am not trying to hear them for 3 hours. That's far too long. That's literally psychotic. As Patrick CC says,
Drink water, y'all.
we're about to get into it. So, I missed the opportunity to review Happier Than Ever when it dropped back in 2021 because, as you know by now, if you've been watching me for a while, lots of things were going on for me in 2021. So, I moved out of my apartment of 8 years, I quit my job at Disney, moved out of state back home. And so, I was definitely on the lookout for Billy's third album. Unfortunately, she dropped her album after several music industry titans had dropped theirs. Hold your horses, keyboard warriors. I know Billie is one of the most decorated artists in the industry and she's only 22. That third album, Hit Me Hard and Soft, came in at number 2 on Billboard 200 and she has a massive fan base of her own. But nothing compared to the Arianators, the Beehive, and the Swifties, which brings us neatly back to the alleged feud between Taylor and Billie, which doesn't surprise me. For as long as Billie Eilish has been relevant, which is since she was about 14, there's been controversy surrounding her. Most of it not her own doing and definitely unwarranted. Her baggy clothes and looks have always been a topic of discussion, as is the case with women in general, regardless of whether they are a pop star or not. There was the case of grown men texting her or making comments about her body, and then apparently people were shook when she did this photo shoot. People said she was queerbaiting in this song, but then she comes out as queer in this album and people are horrified. By the way, this inspired a video I was going to make about that show What Not to Wear, which used to air on TLC back in the day. This is a thumbnail for that video, which obviously includes Billie Eilish. The script has been ready since 2021, but I haven't quite come around to filming that video. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you're still interested in that video. I feel it's a relevant topic of discussion. But back to Billie. She's no stranger to controversy as previously stated. I guess it comes with the territory when you're famous, and so it is my belief that she and most celebrities will use that controversy as a marketing tool, which is what she did by commenting about 3-hour shows and how the use of excessive vinyl packaging is wasteful. And she's not wrong, but she's equally as guilty for having a variety of versions of vinyls, although hers are made from recycled vinyl and sugarcane shrink wrap, which is biodegradable, unlike the ones from single-use plastic shrink wrap. It is important to make that distinction because that was the basis of her criticism, and she did acknowledge that she wasn't singling anyone out and that these are industry-wide systemic issues. Like I said, while she does have a point, I just think she's mad that those participating in releasing multiple variants do sell more records. The irony of it all is that her songs always do numbers. So, like, girl, what are you complaining about? But anyways, rich people are never satisfied. Anyway, I personally don't own any vinyls, so I don't have a dog in this fight. Not to say I won't ever purchase any, but for now, I don't want to spend the money on that. Moving on. More recently, Billie's interview with Rolling Stone got people talking, which is exactly what she wanted, I'm sure. What with the release of her album. Any kind of publicity is good. By the way, that interview I think is closely related to track number 2 on the album, Lunch. I had a feeling what the song was going to be about when she dropped the track list prior to the album release. How? Well, I remember Ice Spice saying that for her song Munch, the song that really put her on the map in 2022, she said she was looking for a word to rhyme with lunch, and that's how she came up with Munch. And she did also mention in the Apple Music interview that she's into girls as well.
Not squares, but I like
It's just a regular guy.
good boys and girls.
So, I connected dots that perhaps did not need to be connected, but I ended up being right. This song also reminds me of Demi Lovato's Cool for the Summer. I thought nothing of the song other than that the song was cool, and then I saw the video. So that was her coming out song, and now she is engaged to a man. But back to Billie again. She's back to her baggy style in this video, and honestly, what she's singing about is no different than what most rappers be saying in their songs. Only difference is she's talking about the same sex. I don't care for what she's saying in the song, but I like the beat. Sidebar, imagine her brother producing this and having to listen to his little sister get this suggestive. I could never. Anyway, one thing about this album is it sounds like she and Phineas took the concept of Happier Than Ever, the title track of her sophomore album, and ran with it. In other words, most of the tracks on this album have transitions. The songs would start off as one thing and end up sounding like a completely different song. I think the transitions are beautifully done in Skinny, The Greatest, and Blue, which, by the way, all three of these songs have something in common. Those same violin notes. Just listen. Also, I think Blue should have been the first song on the album, and also that should have been the title of the album, especially considering the history of the song. She said she wrote the song when she was 14, it got leaked, and she and Phineas rewrote it so many times, and boom.
I need to think about it that way.
I want to explain Blue really quick for those that don't know. Basically, the first kind of quarter of that song is a song that Phineas and I made when I was 14 and he was 18, called True Blue. And years went by, and
we stopped talking about it completely.
We completely never brought it up.
And then we were working on the second album.
Well, we were working on the second album, and then separately, paused that part. On the second album, we were working on all the songs that are in that one, plus a song called Born Blue, which is like a completely different thing than True Blue. It wasn't even in the thought of it. And then, in 2022, I remember, I don't know, I was like on TikTok or something, and suddenly True Blue has been just like leaked.
However, it wouldn't work as the first track, only because the beginning of the song is the ending of Bittersweet. So I'll circle back around to this concept, but let's move on. Also, really quickly, Blue references other tracks on the album. She says Bird in a Cage, which are lyrics in Skinny. She says Open Up the Door, a reference to Chihiro. She references Birds of a Feather and Désolé mon amour, which translates to Sorry my love, a reference to L'amour de ma vie, which means love of my life. Since we're on the topic of similarities, The Greatest is definitely reminiscent of Happier Than Ever. Starts off like a ballad, and then it's orchestra / electric guitar, epic ending. It's great. And then Lunch and The Diner have a similar vibe. The songs don't sound similar, but you're both upbeat and the lyrics are about similar things, though one is obviously more suggestive than the other. The Diner also reminds me of Outkast's I Like the Way You Move. Just listen to this.
Way ready for action. Nip it in the bud, we never relaxing. Outcast is everlasting, not clashing, not at all.
I know I want to be. You're starting.
But my favorite track on the album is Chihiro. Honestly, I had to look up what that word is. It's the name of a character from an animated feature film. The song feels like an experience. It's almost ethereal, it's addictive, and then there's Wildflower, which I've heard chatter that it could be about that older guy she dated, Jesse Rutherford. To be clear, he's not old, but the age gap between them two was just weird. Overall, the album sounds experimental, but still classically Billie. You know, the whisper singing on some tracks, the funky up-tempo songs, the sad girl lyrics. This one I had to listen to a few times over and over to really appreciate it. It's not fair to give an album just one listen and then jump to conclusions, because lots of work goes into making an album, so I do make an effort to listen to it a few times before deciding whether I like it or not. I'm still not crazy about that L'amour de ma vie transition. The song goes from a ballad to like techno/80s, 2010s EDM type beats. I don't understand it, but it's catchy. So I would rate the album a solid 7 out of 10. I prefer Happier Than Ever. Before I go though, I would like to rank the songs and rearrange them according to my favorites to my least favorite. The first track would be Blue, as I mentioned, but it wouldn't make sense, so I would put Bittersweet as the first track and then Blue as the second track, since it starts off where Bittersweet left off. And then coming in the third position would be Chihiro, my absolute favorite on the album, and then Skinny as the fourth, which is such a beautiful song. I'm not the target audience for that song because I can't relate to the lyrics, but I can acknowledge that the vocals and the composition of the song are very well done. And although I would have preferred to have Lunch down at the bottom of the list at number 9, I have to put it at number 5 right after Skinny, because the beginning of Lunch is the ending of Skinny. So it just makes sense to have it at number 5. Number 6 will be The Greatest. I just love that transition again. Number 7 would be Birds of a Feather. Number 8, L'amour de ma vie. Number 9, Wildflower. I don't follow her love life, which is why it's at the bottom of my list. And then number 10 would be The Diner, which just really sounds like she's stalking someone in the song. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think of her album in the comments. Also, she's low-key a stunt woman. She had a real anaconda around her in the Your Power video, and now she's falling underwater in the cover art of this album. More power to her. I'll see you guys from my Normani Dopamine review, Camila Cabello's album CXOXO, and perhaps I'll do Charlie XCX's Brat. I'm not sure yet about that one. Thanks for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and bye!